Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and we're going to be bullshitting about Nintendo again. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse one.
Great news if you're a Switch fan. Yes, I know there's only something like 14 games out, 7 of which are physical and like 7 of which are on the Nintendo eShop. If you can even get to that many. The funny thing is that not all of them are available here in the States, but you have access to them. That aside, there is something that if you're a long-time gamer like ourselves, that they have went ahead and announced out that should make you very, very excited. Earlier this week, all the way on Tuesday, which was the 21st, it turns out that Nintendo announced, or actually Square announced, that the Seiken Densetsu collection is coming to the Nintendo Switch in Japan. All right. So what does that mean? Well, Seiken Densetsu, for all you newbies or all the folks without Google out there, fuck you. All right, is the Secret of Mana series. Okay. The stuff that was seen here as far as the Secret of Mana series was this game right here, which was, well, Secret of Mana 1, which was actually released in the States as Final Fantasy Adventure. All right. And then on the Super Nintendo, they released Secret of Mana, which is actually Seiken Densetsu 2. Okay. And then there was Seiken Densetsu 3, which was also released on the Super Nintendo that never saw the light of day here in the States, which they kind of went ahead and they drifted around and flirted with maybe doing something with the Mana series. They released out Legend of Mana a little bit later on the PlayStation 1, which... if you've ever getting around to playing it, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not the same thing. All right.
That's to be nice about it.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have the same creative people on it and everything else. Now, where this is really, really exciting is that they're going to go ahead and they're going to release this out. It looks like the whole package is going to be released out digitally for right now. There's been no particular information on whether or not they're going to go ahead and do a physical release. If they do a physical release, I am all over that shit. All over that shit. Like premature ejaculation for a 13-year-old. All right? Just saying. All right? But, yeah, this is really, really exciting because Seiken Densetsu 3 never actually had a physical release out here in the States. Granted, they're going to have to do some work to go ahead and localize it over and everything, but even if you're somebody who's into importing games and everything else, that Switch is region-free. It gives you another reason to actually go ahead and actually own the thing, which kind of harkens back to a video we did earlier, but we're not talking about that subject anymore. What are your guys' thoughts on this particular one?
If these games, look, just bring them out and bring them out physical. I mean, it will be totally, totally worth it, and it will be a big advantage for the fucking Switch if they're going only to the Switch. I mean, this is Square. You know, yes. They could actually put them on other consoles or whatever, but if they bring out these games and they only go for the Switch, that is huge. That it will be a big fucking weapon for the Nintendo Switch to have.
What about you, Gray Mouse? What are your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts are this. I was really excited when I read that news on Tuesday. Secret of Mana has always been one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. In fact, I played it all the time as a kid growing up on the Super Nintendo. And the fact that Secret of Mana was actually the game that actually started the ring system, inventory system. They were the first person to do that, the first game to do that, rather. And, you know, Final Fantasy Adventure as well. I've had countless times with the Game Boy playing that. And I was really excited about that. And that's definitely a definite buy for me. Digital and or physical. I mean, it's a must-have. But I do worry about the localization of it because if any indication of the Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, localization is a big thing. That was one of the major reasons why The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was delayed because of localizations. So I can understand. So when's it supposed to be released, supposedly?
Right now, it's set to release in Japan on June 1st.
Oh, June.
At the cost of 4,800 yen, which I believe translates to roughly $43 and change in US dollars.
So, but that's just a digital copy?
I believe right now they haven't. Let's see here. Present. Actually, no. They have a box. So, yeah.
That's too much for a digital copy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be released physically, at least in Japan.
It and especially since this machine here is region free, I will be acquiring that game. That will be a game that I will acquire because I have, I can play through them. But I would love to have that set of 3 games in there, as a what do you call it? As a Western release, especially Part 3 that never came, like the Rebel saying. Part 3 never really officially was released in America. So it'd be interesting whether they will localize those. But, like I said earlier, if there's any indication on localization, I would say Christmas time, if that, because it takes, localizing the game is tough. Although, I do have to say, though, I mean, it's already been localized. I mean, you have the localized version of Part 1 or Part 2 right there in front of you, and Part 1.
Yeah.
So I don't see the localization being that. All you do is, I mean, maybe I'm wrong because all you got to do is copy and paste that shit. I mean, maybe not. It's not a right-click copy. Of course not. But the localization will probably fall under Part 3 if that's the case, because we never had a Western release for that. And there's part of the story, the end of this didn't really finish the saga. There's still stuff left. So for me, I'm rambling here. I'm excited. It's one of my favorite all-time Super Nintendo games, right behind, of course, Zelda: Link to the Past and Super Metroid. It is just one of those must-haves in your libraries, in my opinion. So you asked me how I feel about that? Yes. That will be going into my collection. Just simple as that.
I would have to say that, I've said before that the one thing that I'm kind of worrying about for the Switch over the next few months is how it's going to handle more titles coming to it. Mm-hmm. If this collection comes to the States in a physical version and everything else, yes, I will be buying it. It will be mine. The thing is that regardless of how I came off during our haters video, as far as my thoughts about certain Square games or something like that, the Mountain series are just one of my favorites and everything else. All of them are all really good. This one kind of hangs out someplace where it's like it's playable, but yeah. But as far as like the, just to be able to sit there and have a physical release of Seiken Densetsu 2 or Seiken Densetsu 3 here in the States, I will gush all over that. I know a lot of gamers have had there's been a lot of feedback about people, companies going out of their way doing remakes and remasters and everything else. We've had our fair share of criticism about that stuff too. But guess what? Look, if you're going to go ahead and do the remakes and the remaster collections and shit like that, if you're going to go ahead and say, hey, look, for all of you gaijin out there, we're going to go ahead and give you a real reason to own this shit by giving you something that never had an official release on your side of the Pacific, I am all for that. Okay, I am willing to spend money on that. So, which I think that probably pretty much applies to everybody here in the video. I'd say.